The Kia Soul is one of the interesting vehicles that resists simple classification. Outwardly, the Soul looks like a square-shaped SUV. However, its vehicle-like ride level and absence of all-wheel drive make it more like a hatchback. While its scientific classification may be confounding, the Soul's large number of qualities makes it one of our #1 little runabouts. For 2022, the Soul gets a couple of updates that expand on its new 2020 upgrade. The bigger 10.25-inch infotainment touchscreen is currently more generally accessible, and the base touchscreen is somewhat greater, developing from 7 crawls to 8 inches. Devotees of the manual transmission should spill another out. Notwithstanding, in light of the fact that Soul has lost its shift-it-yourself gearbox. The Kia Soul is one of our #1 little vehicles, and you ought to add it to your short rundown. In the event that you're searching for a helpful yet charming vehicle. Other solid competitors from this section are the new and great Chevrolet Trailblazer, the Hyundai Kona, and the lively Mazda CX-30. Investigate our definite Soul expert rating underneath to find out more. What's new? 10.25-inch touchscreen with route now standard on S, X line and GT line manages. Manual transmission is not generally advertised. New Elk's technology bundle incorporates a bigger touchscreen and extra driver helps. Part of the third Soul age presented for 2020. How does the Soul drive? Most extreme speed increase from the 2.0-liter motor is a little missing, however the Soul feels totally nimble in and out of town. The controlling is regular, and cornering skills are surprisingly good. As a rule, the CVT programmed feels like a customary program. The controlling element's a light exertion that develops normally when you move from focus. The Soul has cornering capacities like sportier adversaries like the Mazda CX-30 and Mini Countryman. The main genuine disadvantage is the tricky brake pedal, which takes some becoming accustomed to. The brake reaction constructs excessively fast, so you must be smooth on the brakes to abstain from swaying. Not at all like a few different subcompacts, the Soul doesn't offer all-wheel drive. How agreeable is the Soul? The front seats are actually agreeable even after you've been sitting for a really long time. The back seat back point is fixed, however, is set at an agreeable point. The ride is firm and controlled yet never brutal. Dissimilar to certain adversaries, the Soul doesn't shiver like it's self-destructing when it's rolled over greater knocks. At interstate paces, the upstanding windshield creates a perceptible, however not bothering level of wind commotion, and some tire clamor is clear as well. Mimicked gear shifts mean the motor doesn't ramlet max speed like some CVT automatics. How's the capacity? The Soul has a profound freight well that gives it more freight room than other little SUVs. However, the setup has great volume 2 cubic feet. There's an enormous protuberance at the foundation off the back seats when you crease them, which limits utility. Extra room is respectable for the class, with a lot of container sand cubbies for front inhabitants. Introducing a vehicle seat is intense regardless of an open secondary lounge. The anchors are inset profoundly and admittance to the TIs is hampered by this trim's non-adjustable headrests. Would it be a good idea for me to buy the 2020 Kia Soul? The Kia Soul stays serious areas of strength with loads of inside space for a vehicle its size. A couple of things are missing, be that as it may, including all-wheel drive, similarly barely any standard dynamic well-being highlights. To get the turbocharged motor, you'll need to move up to the top trim level, which invalidates a portion of the Soul's cash-saving allure. Of the relative multitude of Soul's trims, the S is the best arrangement. With a bigger interactive media screen and well-buying lists like programmed crisis slowing down, path-keeping help, and vulnerable side admonition.